श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् अपार करुणासिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणं श्रीचन्द्रशेखरगुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्वहम्।
श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। With the profuse blessings of our Acharya Swamiji, we have now completed more than a month of this program, Vande GurorMandalam, going through Vande Bhagavad Stotras. After studying Ganesha Bhujangam and Shiva Stotras, including Shivananda Lahari, we have started with Ambashtakam, then we went on to Ananda Lahari, and now we are in Saundarya Lahari, sloka number 22.
Namaskaram. Bhavani tvam dase mai vitara drishtim sakarunam iti stotum vanchan kathayati bhavani tvamiti yaha tadaiva tvam tasmai dishasi nija sayujya padavim mukunda brahmendra sphutamakuta nirajita padam.
The abundant compassion of Devi is the subject in this sloka. And Sarva Siddhi, attainment of all your desires, is the fruit of this sloka. Every sloka we have been looking at some fruit or the other. Now, for this sloka, that is the fruit. Bhavani tvam dase mayi vitara drishtim sakarunam iti stotum vanchan. A bhakta, a devotee, goes to Devi and starts praising her and praying to her. Now here, this is the prayer. Bhavani, he is addressing he is addressing Devi as Bhavani. Bhavani is Bhavapatni, Shivapatni, as well as one who creates the worlds, Bhavani. Tvam mayi dase sakarunam drishtim vitara. This is the prayer. Tvam yourself, mayi dase, I am your sevaka, I am your servant. On me, sakarunam drishtim vitara. Direct your glance full of compassion. This is the prayer. Direct your glance full of compassion. We have seen already, glance is the most powerful. The two sidelong glance is most powerful, and one who is fortunate to be recipient of the sidelong glance is extremely lucky. We have seen it several slokas. So he knows that, so he prays for it. It is stotum vanchan. So he wanted to pray like this. He started praying. It is stotum vanchan. He desired to pray like this, to utter a stotra of this format, and then he started. He said, Kathayati bhavani tvamiti yaha. He said, Bhavani tvam. And then he could not complete the rest of the prayer. He was about to say dase, and before that something happened. That is what he is now describing. Bhavani tvamiti kathayati. He has just uttered the words Bhavani tvam. Dase mayi vitara drishtim sakarunam is what he wanted to complete the phrase with, but he could not. Tadaiva tvam dastasmai dishasi nija sayujya padavim tadayeva. at that very moment when he stopped with these two words, Bhavani, Tvam, and he was about to utter the third word, Dase. In that interregnum, the very small interval of time, Tada Eva, at that very point of time, Tvam Tasmai Dishasi, you are granting him. What you are granting him? Nija Sayujya Padavim. We have seen Sayujya is the highest form of moksha. We saw four types of moksha. In fact, in Shivananda Lahiri, they are all described in great detail. Sarupya, Salokya, etc. Now, Sayujya is the highest, where the devotee merges with Devi indistinguishably. After, like a river merges with Sindhu, the ocean, like that, once the river merges with the ocean, you cannot distinguish between the earlier waters of the river and the new waters of the ocean. Same way, when you get merged with Devi, you become Devi, you become part of Devi, so there is no more distinction between you and Devi. That is Sayujya. So, Nija Sayujya Padavim, so that state of her own Nija, her own Sayujya, she grants. So, that is the greatest thing which she can grant. Moksha, the highest level of moksha, that is the greatest blessing she can give. And that is what she has given already. Before he could complete the rest of the prayer. Why? Because what she thought, these are the interesting, the phrase has been interpreted in a beautiful manner by scholars. So that phrase made a meaning completely to us. Bhavani Tvam Dase Mayi Vidara Drishtim Sakarunam. That made proper meaning to us. But Bhavani Tvam, only these two words made it an entirely different meaning to Devi. Because the word Bhavani has been interpreted by Devi to mean let me become. It's a future tense. Karavani means let me do. Pibani, let me drink, like that. So let me become. That is what she understood. It's correct. As per Sanskrit grammar, that is absolutely correct. The same word stands for Bhavani Devi as well as let me become. So Bhavani Tvam means let me become you. Let me become yourself. Aham Brahmasmi. Tattvamasi. This kind of Mahavakyas of the Upanishads teach the highest level of merger of the individual soul with Paramatma, Jivatma with Paramatma. So that state he is praying for is what she interpreted. He only prayed for a compassionate glance, nothing more than that. He never said moksha, he never said sayujya, he never had all those things in mind. So we have seen vanchasam adhikam, much more than what you pray for. Devi gives. She has given now in this case. Tasmai Dishasi, you are granting him. And that Sayujya Padavi, that state of Sayujya, is now praised further. Mukunda Brahmendra Sputa Makuta Nirajita Padam. Mukunda is Vishnu. Vishnu, Brahma, Devendra, they are all prostrating at Devi's feet, and their crowns, which are gem-studded, shining, sputa, shining those crowns, with those shining navaratnas from those crowns, when they prostrate, it looks as if they are showing Deeparadhana, showing Nirajanam to your feet, Nirajita Padam. That is the state of Sayujya Padavi. Because once he merges with Devi, when they prostrate at Devi's feet, it is as good as prostrating at his feet, because he is part of Devi now. He is no more distinguishable as a separate entity. He is no more a separate entity. So he gets the blessing of even being worshipped by Vishnu, Brahma, and Devendra when they prostrate to the Devi. So this is the height of achievement, height of what one could, the maximum one could expect from Devi. That maximum has been given to him with no prayer at all. There was no prayer for that state, and that highest lofty state has been given to him. So every Purana, every Stotra talks about the Nama Mahima. Once you utter the name of the divinity, even by chance, that divinity grants you the highest benefits. Same thing is mentioned in Devi Bhagavatam also. Aspashtamapi yannama prasangenapi bhashitam. Even by chance, by accident, you mention, you utter the name of Devi, Aspashtamapi, very unclearly. No clear mention of Devi's name, just casually when you are doing something else, you uttered her name. Dadati vanchita narthan durlabhanapi sarvada. Sarvada, at all times. It's not as if 10 times she did not give anything, 11th time she gave. It's not like that. At all times, whenever you utter her name, she gives you vanchitan arthan, whatever you desire. All your desires are fulfilled. Durlabhanapi, even if those desires are impossible of attainment for you, even extremely difficult objects, she is going to grant you because you uttered her name. So this is the power of the name, because Nama is supposed to be greater than Nami. Nama is supposed to be greater than Nami. This is the theory behind Nama Sankirtanam, or chanting the names of Devi. This is the principle behind it. Because the name itself, even without the interference of Devi, can give you. That's what there it says. Here, he uttered the name, though it was interpreted differently by Devi, he definitely uttered the name, and then he said Bhavani Tvam. And by that time, she interpreted in a different, Devi interpreted in a different way and gave him the Sayujya Padavi itself. Bhavani Tvam Dase Mayi Vitara Drishtim Sakarunam Iti Stotam Vanchan Kathayati Bhavani Tvamiti Yaha Sadaiva Tvam Tasmai Dishasi Nija Sayujya Padavi Mukunda Brahmendra Sputa Makuta Nirajita Padam.
त्वया हृत्वा वामं वपुरपरितृप्तेन मनसा शरीरार्धं शम्भोः अपरमपि शङ्के हृतमभूत् यदेतत्त्वद्रूपं सकलमरुणाभं त्रिनयनं कुचाभ्यामानम्रं कुटिलशशिचूडालमकुटम्.
Now this shloka praises the supremacy of Devi with reference to Shiva, and Shiva becomes a part of Shakti. That is the message conveyed here. And the benefit for this shloka is Sarva Sampat. That is what has been given. You will get all wealth. Now, very beautifully, this concept has been brought out, that Devi's supremacy over Shiva himself. Tvaya hritva vamam vapuhu aparitraptena manasa sharirardham shambhoho aparamapi shanke hritam abhut. Tvaya vamam vapuhu hritva shambhoho sharirardham. Shambhoho sharirardham, half of the body of Shiva. The left half has been given to Devi, right half is with Shiva in Ardhanarishwara form. That is the reference here. Shambhoho sharirardham, half of Shambhu's form. Vamam vapuhu kritva, the left part of the body, having taken it. Aparitraptena manasa, you are totally unsatisfied. Aparitrapta is total dissatisfaction. Aparitraptena manasa, with that mind, what did you do? Shambhoho aparamapi hritam abhut tvaya. By you was taken the other part of Shambhu also. Aparam api, the other part, the balance part. Iti shanke, this is what I suspect. I suspect that you were totally dissatisfied with the left half of Shambhu's form, which was taken by you, and then you wanted to take the other half also because you were totally dissatisfied and you took it. Pratam abhut, you have taken it already. The poet does not say you wished to take it and then it stopped at level of the wish. No, your wish became a reality immediately. You wished for it because you were dissatisfied and you got it immediately. Kritam abhut, it was taken by you. Yat, how do I know this? The reason, the inference. Yat, etat tadrupam, the form of yours, which is in front of me, which I am seeing. Seeing means either physically in front of you or mentally in your heart. Sakalam arunabham trinayanam. Now he is describing that form, and it is a female form entirely. There is no male aspect. Whatever male aspect was there, half of it has already been taken by you and converted into a female form. So entirely it is a female form now. That is what he is trying to say. Sakalam arunabham. It has a completely reddish tinge all over the body. Originally it was half reddish and half white. Shiva was white and Devi was reddish. But now it is not so. Entirely arunabham, shining with red color. Trinayanam, you have three eyes. Originally, 1.5 eyes belonged to you, 1.5 eyes belonged to Shiva. Now, all the three eyes belong to you. Kuchabhyam anam ram, by your two breasts, you are bending down because of the weight. That is also another sign of an entirely female form. Kutila shashi chodala makutam. Kutila shashi means curved moon. That means crescent moon, not a full moon. So, crescent moon is adorning as a chodamani, chodala, as a head ornament over your makuta, over your crown. That is also there, which was typical ornament of Shiva. Now it is part of you. So there is nothing which can be said which is part of Shiva, which is still in your form. Everything is yours, all female form. That shows that you have taken by force the other half also because you were dissatisfied. Now this is an interesting way, a poetic way of saying that Shiva concept, Shiva Tattva is part of Shakti Tattva. It is not it is not a separate one. There is not a distinct Shiva Tattva. That is what he is trying to say. Now, we were talking about Samayachara Puja. All puja which we do mentally is called Samayachara Puja. We have seen all that Kundalini Yoga, etc. Even Kundalini Yoga is taken parallel to Sri Chakra Puja, which is done mentally. When you do outside, that is a Bhashya Puja. That is called Kaula Puja. We saw that. There is a, in Kaula itself, there is a separate, as I said earlier, in Shaktam, there is absolutely no end to the profuseness of concepts, the various devatas, and it's the ocean. So in that Uttara Kaulam, there is a separate section called Uttara Kaulam in Kaulam itself. There is not separate Shiva Puja. In all other forms, there is a separate Shiva Puja before you go to Devi Puja. But here in Uttara Kaulam, there is no separate Shiva Puja. Shiva is part of Shakti. So this is espousing that thought. Now, you might have heard of a poet called Nilakantha Dikshita, who was the grandson of Appaya Dikshita's brother. He took sannyasa later on, and he wrote a beautiful poem called Ananda Sagara Savam. It is on Madurai Meenakshi. There he says, he is praising Meenakshi, there he says, Shiva is credited with being a Kala Samhara Murti. He is the one who kicked Yama on his chest, and he is given all the credit for that, for saving Markandeya. Whereas he used the left foot for kicking Yama. Left foot entirely belongs to you. There is no part of proprietorship as far as left foot is concerned. Right foot is his, but he used the left foot. He did never use the right foot. So when he used the left foot, how can he be called Kala Samhara Murti? So this is not fair. That is the way poetically he is putting that. Another shloka he says, Devi, you are the one who creates all the three worlds, you sustain all the three worlds, you destroy all the three worlds when the time comes. Whether Shiva knows all this or not, we don't know. We don't know whether Shiva is aware of all this or not. But Shruti, Veda itself, calls Shiva as Jagat Pita. This is a strange thing. Whether he knows anything about Jagat, because all the Jagat is in your charge. Creating, sustenance, destruction, all krityas, all activities connected with Jagat are in your charge, and all credit for connected with Jagat is being given to him as Jagat Pita, even by Shruti. Now I know why Shruti says that. Because you are associated with Shiva, so Shiva is being the credit. Because of associate, whether he does anything, whether he is aware of anything, he is not aware of himself. That is his nature. He is always in a state of yoga, samadhi state. So he doesn't know anything about this world, etc. That is all part of your portfolio. So because of your association with you, with him, he is being the credit as Jagat Pita. First he said, he is being the credit as Kala Samhara Murti. Now Shruti itself says Jagat Pita. Now there also he is giving a interesting reason to place Devi at the highest pedestal. So, Tvaya Hritva Vamam Vapura Parithripte Namanasa Sharirardham Shambhoho Aparamapi Shanke Hritamabhut Yadetat Tvadrupam Sakalam Arunabham Trinayanam Kuchabhyam Anamram Kutila Shashi Chudalamakutam.
जगत्सूते धाता हरिरवति रुद्रः क्षपयते तिरस्कुर्वन्येतत् स्वमपि वपुरीशस्तिरयति सदा पूर्वः सर्वं तदिदमनुगृह्णाति च शिवः तवाज्ञामालम्ब्य क्षणचलितयोर्भ्रूलतिकयोः.
There are what are known as Panchakritya, we have seen before, which Shiva carries out according to Vedas and Shastras. Now, Panchakrityas are creation, sustenance, destruction. Then there is a fourth Kritya called Tirodhana and a fifth Kritya called Anugraha. After destruction, all jivas go into an eternal slumber. They don't know anything. They don't know themselves. They don't know the surroundings. It is like a coma. That state, that is Tirodhana state, till the next creation starts, next cycle starts, till then they are stayed in that state of Tirodhana. That is the fourth Kritya, after destruction. And after this, Shiva blesses Anugraha, that is the fifth Kritya. Blesses means he gives moksha, he will give jnana and moksha to deserving souls. Undeserving souls, he again puts them into the cycle of birth and death. That is also an anugraha only, because he gives you one more opportunity to redeem yourself. In fact, human birth is supposed to be the greatest anugraha which Bhagavan has given us. Because it is only in human birth, not even in Deva's birth, that you can aspire for moksha. Even aspiring for moksha is difficult, though it is possible for Deva. It's not impossible. But it is almost impossible. It is extremely difficult in those circumstances of comfort, extreme sukham with no dukkham. Who will think of Bhagavan? They enjoy the comforts. So here it is a mixture of sukha and dukkha. So at least whenever dukkha comes, you will remember Bhagavan. So when sukha is there, you will think that sukha is a blessing of Bhagavan. So at all times there is at least chance that you will think of Bhagavan, and there is a chance to redeem yourself, aspire for moksha. So that is also Anugraha. So this role is played by Sadashiva. Now he is giving the details. Jagatsute dhata hariravati rudraha kshapayate. Dhata Jagatsute. Brahma is called dhata because it's called dhata or vidhata because he is the decider of our destiny. Dhata means one who writes our destiny. He decides which janma we should take, whether we will get an animal janma or a human janma or a male or a female. All decisions are taken by him, and all writing on our head we have seen before is also done by him. What will happen during our stay on this earth? What will happen to us? That is also decided by him. So he is Dhata, decider of destiny. Jagat Sute Dhata, he creates all these worlds. Harihi Avati, Vishnu protects. Rudraha Kshapayate, Rudra destroys. Tiraskurvan Yetat Swamapi Vapuhu Ishaha Tirayati. The fourth entity is Ishvara. When we saw the four legs of the mancha on which Devi is seated, these four came for reference. At that time also we mentioned the Panchakrityas. Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra and Ishvara. Now that the fourth Ishvara is coming for mention. Tiraskurvan etat means this Jagat. This Jagat he hides completely. He takes it completely out of existence. Tiraskurvan etat swamapi tirayati. Swamapi vapuhu tirayati ishaha. He not only hides the world, conceals the world, he also conceals himself. That means he merges himself with Devi. Like others have merged themselves. Dhata, Vishnu, Rudra, they have all merged themselves. Their existence is over. Similarly, after doing the Tiraskara job, Ishvara also conceals himself. Somapi, including himself. Then what happens? Sada purvat sarvam tajidam anugrihnati cha shivaha. Then Sada Shiva comes into play. Sada purvaha shivaha. Very nicely he has put it. Sada Shiva, whose initial part of the description is Sada. I mean, that is how he is putting it poetically. So Sada Shiva, Sarvam Tadidam Anugrihnati. He blesses all this Jagat, as we have seen before, in his own way. All the Jivas he blesses. So the fifth Karya, fifth Kritya out of Panchakritya, Anugraha is done by Sadashiva. Now these four Devatas have merged themselves in Devi. Now what happens to Sadashiva? Savajñam alambya kshanachalitayoho bhrulatikayoho. He doesn't say Ishaha tirayati, he said. Now, when he said Ishaha tirayati, it is assumed that others have already gone out of existence. Whereas Shivaha anugrihnati, he continues to bless, he is still there. There is no merger for him because he was created by Devi from her own existence, from her own form. So he is part of her form, and she married him. So he is always there as a separate entity. So he says, Tavajñam alamye, all these Panchakrityas were carried out by all these five Devatas based on your Ajna. Tavajñam alamye, following your instructions. Kshana chalitayoho, bhrulatikayoho. How was your instruction conveyed? Was it conveyed through words? Was it conveyed through some hand gestures? Or any other manner? Or was it conveyed through an assistant like they do in offices? No. Kshana chalitayoho, bhrulatikayoho. The eyebrows are generally described as creepers, latika, by poets. This is a poetical description of eyebrows. They look curved and they look like a latika. So your bhru latika, your eyebrows creepers, kshana chalitayoho, you just moved them a little bit for a split second, kshana. For a split second, you created a movement in your eyebrows which carried out all these panchakrityas, or carrying out such a heavy duty, five krityas. All that was required to be done by you was create a little movement of your eyebrows. That shows the power of Devi. And that shows the power of the five devatas who always carry out this instruction conveyed by Devi. Now, Lalita Sahasranamam also mentions this. Srishtikartri Brahmarupa Goptri Govindarupini. There, each of them has been given Devi's form itself, Devi's name itself. Brahmarupa Goptri Govindarupini. Govinda is there, but actually whoever appears as Govinda, whoever appears as Brahma is Devi in a masculine form. We saw earlier. Pumrupa Krishna Vigraha. We saw that. The same thing. Samharini Rudrarupa Tirodhanagareeshwari Sadashiva Anugrahada Panchakritya Parayana. So you are doing all the Panchakrityas by assuming five forms of yourself. And the entire creation of Brahmandas, not just our earth, entire creation of Brahmandas, entire destruction of Brahmandas, all that takes place by just a little movement of your eyebrows. It is also covered in a different format in Lalita Sahasranam. Unmesha Nimishotpanna Vipanna Bhuvanavalihi. Bhuvanavalihi, that is a row of Bhuvanas. Deepavali means a row of Deepas, like that. Bhuvanavalihi, a row of Bhuvanas. Multitude of Bhuvanas, multitude of worlds are being created when you open your eyes, or being destroyed when you close your eyes. Unmesha Nimisha, opening and closing. Causes Utpanna and Vipanna, the rise and destruction of various worlds. So all the five, Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Ishvara and Sadashiva, act as per instructions, and all the four merge in you, and Sadashiva remains as a separate entity. That is also your will. According to your will, you created him like that, and you married him also. Jagatsute dhata hariravati rudraha kshapayate tiraskurvannetat swamapi vapurishaha tirayati tada purvas sarvam tajidam anugruhnati cha shivaha tavajñamalambya kshanachalitayor bhrulatitayoho.
त्रयाणां देवानां त्रिगुणजनितानां तव शिवे भवेत् पूजा पूजा तव चरणयोर्या विरचिता तथा हि त्वत्पादोद्वहनमणिपीठस्य निकटे स्थिता ह्येते शश्वन्मुकुलितकरोत्तंसमकुटाः.
Now this sloka conveys to us that once you do puja to Devi, you have already completed puja to Tridevas. And the fruit of this sloka is, the fruit of the previous sloka was Sarva Bhuta Preta Pishacha Bhaya Nivaranam. This is the fruit. Now for this sloka, the fruit is high post, Unnata Padavi, high post and power. Now, what he says here, Trayanam Devanam Triguna-janitanam Tava Shive Bhavet Puja Puja Tava Charanayoho Ya Virachita. These three devas, Trayanam Devanam, that is Brahma, Vishnu and Rudra, they were created by you out of the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. We have seen this before. Sattva Guna Pradhani is Vishnu. Pradhani means he is not 100% Sattva Guna. Sattva Guna is dominant. Rajas, Tamas are also with him. Similarly, Rajaguna Pradhani is Brahma, so Rajas is prominent. Sattva and Tamas are also with him. And Tamoguna Pradhani is Rudra, because he has to do the destruction, which can be done only if we live with predominance of Tamoguna. Then Sattva and Rajas are in a minority there. So, these three are in balance with Devi, Maya Shakti, which is actually only these three gunas. Maya Shakti is nothing but these three attributes, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. All the world, including the human existence, everything is only because of these three gunas. In the case of human beings, we have a mixture, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Sattva is predominant in the case of Devas, Tamas is predominant in the case of Asuras. We have a kind of balance. Of course, if you give a general description of humans vary so much in nature among themselves. Some are Sattva Pradhani, some are Rajo Guna Pradhani, some are Tamo Guna Pradhani. Now, these three Devas have been created with these three attributes, three gunas by you. Tava Triguna Janitanam. They were created by you from out of your Maya Shakti. O Shive, Tava Charanayoho, Ya Puja Virachita. Whatever puja is done at your feet, Puja Bhavet for them also. Trayanam, Devanam, Puja Bhavet. The puja done at your feet is actually puja done at the feet of those three devas also. How does he say that? Always he gives a reason in the second part of the verse. Now also he gives. Tatha, hey, it is like that. Why? Tatpadodvahana manipithasya nikate. We have seen the gem-studded mancha on which Devi is seated. So, manipitha, that is the gem-studded seat on which she is seated. Tatpadodvahana, on which she is keeping one leg crossed on the other head, leg hanging. So, that is how Kamakshi is seated, that is how Tripura Sundari sits. Now, Svatpada Udvahana, this Manipitha is carrying your feet, isn't it? Manipitha, on which she is sitting, is carrying her feet. Nikate, near that Manipitha, where Devi is seated, Sthitaha Yete, these three divinities are standing. Yete means these three, because subject was these three. These three are standing there near the Manipitha on which you are seated. The Manipitha carries your feet. Shashvan Mukulita Karottam Samakutaha. How are they standing? Kara Uttam Sa Makutaha. Uttam Sa Makutaha. They have crowns on their heads. And Shashvata means always, constantly. Mukulita Karaha. That means their hands are raised in folding in the form of pranama. So they have raised their hands in Anjali form above their head, where the Mukuta is there, at that level, where the crown is there, at that level. Mukulita means actually a bud. Mukula is the bud of the flower. When the Anjali Baddha posture of the hand looks like a Mukula from a distance, like a bud of a flower. So poets use this for conveying Anjali posture. So he says, Shashvata Mukulita Karottam Mukutaha. Always in that Anjali Baddha posture, over their heads, over the crowns. Now that is where they are standing. They are standing near the Manipitha. The Manipitha is carrying your feet. They are standing near your feet. So whatever puja I have done at your feet also applies to them because they are standing very close by. When you do puja to Rama, the others are there in the same picture, isn't it? Lakshmana is there, Bharata is there, Shatrugna is there, Sita is there, Anjaneya is there, in the same picture. They are all there, surrounding Rama. Sita is seated next to him. Others are standing. Hanuman is seated at his feet. So, when you do puja at the feet of Rama, it becomes a puja to all of them. You don't have to do a separate puja to them. So, that is what he is saying here. So, the puja which is done at your feet becomes a puja. Bhavet puja. Puja bhavet trayanam devanam. That becomes automatically their puja. Now, while giving an explanation to this shloka, commentators have drawn attention to another fact, that is, during this Shat Chakra Bhedanam, the Kundalini Yoga puja procedure, there we saw there are three granthis, three knots, Brahma Granthi, Vishnu Granthi and Rudra Granthi, one Granthi at every two, crossing after every two chakras. We saw that. So those Granthis, Brahma, Vishnu and Rudra are worshipping Devi. So once you worship Devi at those Granthis, they are also worshipped. So you don't have to do a separate puja for them. They are automatically worshipped in the Kundalini Yoga procedure also. And same thing, because this Sri Chakra Puja, which is the subject of Saundari Lahari, is actually being carried out in Kundalini Yoga inside mentally through these six chakras. So whatever he is saying here, in Sri Chakra also you are doing the same, and inside your mind, mentally when you are doing inside your body, in the Kundalini Yoga also you are doing the same. And Appaya Dikshitar has written what is known as Durga Chandra Kala Stuti. Nowadays it's very famous. People do Parayanam during Navaratri, etc. There he says the same thing. Yat Pujanastuti Namaskritibhihi Bhavanti Prita Pita Maharamesha Harastrayopi. Yat Pujana Stuti Namaskritibhihi, by worshipping you, by prostrating at you, by praising you through stotras, Pitamaha Ramesha Haraha Trayo Api, Brahma, Vishnu and Rudra, all these three also become happy. Pritaha Bhavanti, they become pleased. तेषामपि स्वकरुणैर्दधतीं वपुंषि तामीश्वरस्य तरुणीं शरणं प्रपद्ये. Why? How is it? तेषामपि स्वकरुणैः दधतीं वपुंषि, तेषां वपुंषि स्वकरुणैः दधतीं. Even their bodies, though in appearance they appear different from Devi. Brahma has got a different form, Vishnu has got a different form, Shiva has got a different form, different from Devi. They appear differently. But the Karunaihi Dasati, because of your compassion, they are holding their form. In fact, you are holding their form. So Karunaihi Dasati. By your compassion, you are holding their forms. That means you are there in a different form. You have assumed a masculine form. That is the meaning. Tameshwarasya Tarunim Sharanam Prapadye. That consort of Ishvara, Taruni means young girl, young woman. So Devi is described as a young woman. Tameshwarasya Tarunim Sharanam Prapadye. I take refuge at your feet. Trayanam Devanam Triguna Tava Shive Bhavet Puja Tava Charanayor Yavirachita तथा हित्वत्पादोद्वहनमणिपीठस्य निकटे स्थितास्येते शश्वन् मुकुलितकरोत्तं तमकुटाः. Shashwate Mukulita, always they are standing there with the folded hands, constantly. Next.
विरिञ्चिः पञ्चत्वं व्रजति हरिराप्नोति विरतिं विनाशङ्कीनाशो भजति धनदो याति निधनम् वितन्द्री माहेन्द्री विततिरपि सम्मीलितदृशा महासंहारेऽस्मिन् विहरति सति त्वत्पतिरसौ.
Now, the similar concept is brought out in a different manner, very interesting. The supremacy of Devi and the positions of the other devas. The fruit of this shloka is destruction of enemies, internal as well as external. Internal enemies, Kama, Krodha, etc. External enemies, they are all destroyed. Virinchihi panchatvam vrajati harirapnoti viratim. When the time comes, when the pralaya comes, Virinchi is Brahma. Brahma has got a fixed life of 100 years. So, at that time, a Mahapralaya comes. At that Mahapralaya, he also loses his body. Losing the body, he is giving as Panchatvam Vrajati. He attains the state of Panchatva. That means he dies. Panchatvam Vrajati means he dies. It is applied to humans normally, that expression. That means when our body dies, our body, which is consisting of 5 elements, Panchabhutas, each of those elements merges with the original 5 elements. That is, Agni Tattva merges with Agni, Bhu Tattva merges with Bhumi, Jala Tattva merges with Jalam, Vayu Tattva merges with Vayu, and Akasha Tattva merges with Akasha. So only these five are there in the body, and all of them go back to their positions. That is what happened even with Virinchi when he drops his form at the end of his life. Harihi apnoti viratim. Even Vishnu, he also goes back to his original state within Devi. Virati means taking off from your present state and going back to old state. That means he also loses his form. We are talking about losing the form. The form, as we know, is lost by Brahma as well as Vishnu. They all merge in Devi. Vinasham Kinasho Bhajati. Kinasha is Yama. Yama is the cause of all destruction, and he himself gets destroyed. Vinasham Bhajati. Dhanado Yati Nidhanam. At the time of Pralaya, everyone dies, everyone is destroyed, there is no entity left. So he is giving the list. Dhanada is Kubera. He was ruling over the entire world because he is the treasurer, he is in charge of wealth. Without wealth, what can you do? Dhanato yate nidhanam, he also died. Vitandri mahin, Vitandri mahendri, Vitatirapi sambhilita drusha. For Indra, he is not saying only Mahendraha, as he said, Kenashaha, Dhanadaha, Virinchihi, Harihi, like that. Singular he is not using. He is using Mahendri Vitatihi, a row of Mahendras for Devendra. Why? Because during the time when there was one Brahma, one Hari, one these devatas, when they were doing all this job on their own, 14 Devendras have come during the lifetime of Brahma. 14 Devendras have come and gone. Chaturdasha Indraha, Chaturdasha Manavaha, 14 Manus, 14 Indras. That is what the Shastra says, because Indra has got comparatively lesser life in comparison with other devatas mentioned here. So 14, that is why he says Mahendri Vitatihi, the row of Mahendras. They also appear, they also, not only one Mahendra, all of them. Sammirita Vitandri, with closed eyes. Sammirita closed eyes. Vitandri, Vitandri means slumber, long sleep. Actually, Vitandri means sloth, being lazy. But here it means long sleep. That means they also lose their bodies, they die. All the Indras. Mahasamhare Asmin. During this Mahapralaya, this Mahasamhara, during which all these things happen, Svatpatihi Asau Viharati Sati. Sati is an address. Sati is the name of Dakshayani. Dakshayani means Dakshaputri, daughter of Daksha. The second avatara after Gauri and before Parvati. We saw that. So, what is the name for Dakshayani? Dakshayani means daughter of Daksha. What is her name? Her name is Sati. That is the name given to her by her parents. Sati stands for Pativrata Stri, chaste woman. That is how it is interpreted. So, to prove true to her name, she consigned her body to flames when the reputation of her and her husband was at stake at Dakshayagnya. We know that. So that shows the Pativratya of Sati. That is why he is using that name here, because of her Pativratya, Tatpatihi, your husband. Sati, Pati, even now we use this term for denoting husband and wife. This is the background of that. Sati and Pati. Sati was Dakshayani, Pati was Shiva. So, Tamatpatihi Asau, this your husband, that is Shiva, Viharati, he is playing about, he is sporting with you. He is sporting with you when all these other devatas have passed away into oblivion, whereas he is still alive and kicking, as they say. He is sporting with you. That shows the power of you and power of your Pativritya, because you have married him. So naturally, he has to continue to live. Lalita Sahasranama has this name, no? Maheshwara Mahakalpa Mahatandava Sakshini. So during Mahapralaya, at the end of Mahakalpa, Kalpa is the time of Brahma. So at the end of Brahma's time, Mahapralaya takes place, and that time Maheshwara, Shiva, goes into Mahatandava mode. He continuously dances. He is so happy. He dances Mahatandava. And who is the Sakshini for that? That is Devi. So there are only two living beings at that time. That is Devi and Shiva. And Devi is the Sakshini for Shiva's Mahatandava. Every day he is doing Tandava. That time he does Mahatandava. Every day at the Pradosha time, evening, he prefers, we have seen it before, he likes to do Tandava. Tandava Nritya. Now here it is Mahatandava. It is a Tandava of destruction. He has played the Tandava of destruction, and now he is playing, he is enjoying that. Post-destruction also. Virinchihi panchatvam vrajati harirapnoti viratim vinasham kinasho bhajati dhanado yati nidhanam vitandri mahendri vitatirapi sammilita drisha महासंहारेऽस्मिन् विहरति सति त्वत्पतिरसौ.
जपो जल्पशिल्पं सकलमपि मुद्रा विरचना गतिः प्रादक्षिण्यक्रमणमशनाद्याहुतिविधिः प्रणामः संवेशः सुखमखिलमात्मार्पणदृशा सपर्यापर्यायस्तव भवतु यन्मे विलसितम्.
Now this is Atma Samarpana, which is the highest form of bhakti. We have seen it before. That is the highest Sharanagati. Completely eradicating your entity and merging with Devi in a dedicated form. So this is a Manasika Puja, he says in the commentary. He says whatever he is describing here is a Manasika Puja, not that Kundalini Yoga Puja. This is a puja which you constantly do, even when you are engaged in mundane activities. Manasika Puja, that is how it is described. And the fruit of this is Atma Jnana Siddhi. You get Atma Jnana. Let us see what he says. Japo jalpaha shilpam sakalamapi mudra virachana. Jalpaha japaha. Jalpaha means whatever you say, whatever you speak. That becomes japa. Because during puja time, you do puja. During other times, you are engaged in mundane activities. So he says, even my mundane activities should be considered as acts of devotion. That is simply put. So every one of those activities he is describing. So whatever I speak should be considered as chanting your name. Japaha, sakalamapi shilpam, mudra, virachana, all the hand gestures. Shilpam means hand, activities by hand. All activities, because hand is the one which does physical activities, isn't it? That's why he is saying, sakalamapi shilpam. All the activities which I do with my hand should be interpreted as mudra, virachana, showing of mudras. There are 10 mudras which are associated with Devi Puja in Sri Chakra Puja. Dasha mudra samaradhya. So these 10 mudras are extremely famous, extremely important. Sankshobhini, Vidravini, Akarshini, Vashankari, Unmadini, Mahankusha, Khechari, Bija, Yoni, and Trikhanda. These are the names of those mudras. Whenever you do puja, you have to show all these 10 mudras at appropriate times. Even when our Periyava does puja, when he does Naivedya, he shows this mudra. When he does Naivedya, we can see it clearly during Vyasa Puja because many times this Naivedya is being done, Dhupadipa are done. So these 10 mudras are occurring during the Sri Chakra Puja, and Devi Puja means these 10 mudras. So he says, whatever work I do with my hands, whatever it may be, lifting an object, writing a letter, whatever it is. Anything which I do with my hand should be interpreted as these mudras. Gatihi pradakshanya kramanam. Whenever I walk with my feet, I may be walking here and there, anywhere. Nothing to do with puja. But it should be interpreted as going round your temple. Pradakshanya kramanaha. Kramanam ashanat ahuti vidhihi. Ashanad yahuti vidhi. Ashanadi ahuti vidhihi. Ashanadi, that is food, etc. Etc. means drink, etc. It includes drinking water, drinking juice, etc. Ashanadi ahuti vidhihi, that should be interpreted as ahuti, which is given in Agni, which goes to Devi. Isn't it? How do you do Durga Homam? How do you do Sri Sukta Homam? How do you do Medha Saraswati Homam? So to those devatas, you offer your offerings in Agni, that is Havis, that is Ahuti. That process of doing Ahuti is a complex process which you do through qualified rituals, but now I am not doing that. I am only eating my normal food, I am only drinking my normal water, but that should be interpreted as Ahuti given to you. Pranamaha Samveshaha, I am simply lying down. Samveshaha, that should be interpreted as Namaskara. Sukham Akhilam Atmarpanadrisha. All this is interpreted from the point of view of Atmarpanam. I have dedicated, I have surrendered my Atma to you. My Atma is no separate entity. My Atma is your Atma. So when that has happened, when whatever I do with my limbs should all be interpreted as parts of puja. Saparya Paryayaha. It is a different way of puja, alternative to puja. Saparya is puja as per rules. Sri Chakra puja or any other puja. It's called Saparya. Now this puja which I just described should be taken as an alternative puja. Saparya Paryayaha. Tava bhavatu yanme vilasitam. Yanme vilasitam. Whatever I do. Now certain acts are described. There could be other acts, isn't it? Every act of the human body cannot be put in words, isn't it? In these few words. So he says, he generalized now. Yanme vilasitam. Whatever my body does. Vilasitam generally means sporting. So even sporting with my body. Even sporting with my body. Whatever my body does. Tava sukham akhilam bhavatu. Let it be for your complete happiness, comfort. That means your puja. What is puja? You are offering various things for the comfort and happiness of Devi, isn't it? You are giving asana, you are giving a bath, you are giving bath with various materials like milk, etc., honey, etc. Then you are giving dhupa, deepa, fragrance. Then you are giving naivedya for her to eat. Then you are giving tambula. Then you are doing namaskara, stotras, archanas, etc. All this is to keep her comfortable, keep her pleased. So that is what I have done with this puja, this new puja, alternative puja. Let it bring the same level of comfort and happiness to you. That is the prayer. It is a prayer for accepting this puja. That means prayer in the form of a surrender. That is important. The question of surrender is the important thing here. And Shiva Manasa Puja mentions this in a famous stotra. In fact, many stotras mention the same concept. Subramanya Bhujangam also, there is a concept. Let my ears hear your prayer only, etc., etc. So similarly, Atma Tvam Girija Matihi Sahachara Prana Shariram Griham Pujate Vishayo Babhoga Rachana Nidra Samadhisthitihi. Same thing. In my human body, you are the Atma, and you means addressed to Shiva. So you are the Atma, and Girija is my intellect, and my life breath, Pranaha, they are Sahachara, they are my associates. My body is your house. Whatever I enjoy in this world, Vishayo, Bhoga, Rachana, they are all your puja, like it was mentioned here. Whenever I sleep. That is samadhi. Samadhi, if a person in samadhi, it appears as if he is sleeping. He is sitting, only thing is he is not lying down, he is seated and he is closing his eyes and he is in samadhi state. Even if you go and touch him, he will not realize anything. Unless you shake him vigorously, he will not come out of his samadhi. That is completely losing the body sense. That should be interpreted for my nidra, sleeping. Sanchara padayoho pradakshina vidhi, same which was stated here. Stotrani sarvagiro, whatever I speak is all your stotras. Yadyat karma karomi tattad akhilam shambhodavaradhanam. There is a general statement like here, enme vilasitam. So similar there also. Yadyat karma karomi, whatever I do with my body, all that, tattat akhilam, all that should be interpreted, O Shambho, as your Aradhana. So this concept is there in many stotras. Here it is an offering to Devi as a mental puja, which we do all the time. All the waking hours, we are doing this mental puja. Once you keep her thought constantly in your mind, that is the message he is giving. जपोजल्पशल्पं सकलमपि मुद्रा विरचना गति प्रादक्षिण्यक्रमणमशनाद्याहुतिविधिः प्रणामः संवेशः सुखमखिलमात्मार्पणदृशा सपर्या पर्यायस्तव भवतु यन्मे विलसितम्. We close for the day. Time is up. And any question?
Namaskaram. No questions, ma'am.
No question. So we close for the day. Tomorrow evening at same time, 6:30 p.m. IST. We meet again. We continue to immerse ourselves in this ocean of bliss of Saundarya Lahari. Now, a rare opportunity given to all of us by the grace of Acharya Swamiji. Nama Parvati Pataye Har Har Mahadeva Sri Raja Rajeshwarya Jaya Jaya.